Welcome back. The last couple class periods we have been working on exploratory searches. Your exploratory searches were used for you to find potential focus areas for your topic. I asked that you find some descriptors or keywords and synonyms and so on that you might use to focus more clearly on your subject area. Specifically, we're talking about Romeo and Juliet, and I have asked you to be ready to adapt Romeo and Juliet to the themes of another time period. And with these 9 descriptors that you've come up with, I'm going to show you today a precision search. The precision searches actually that you'll be doing will focus on several different areas. You will need to develop a portfolio that includes a script, a set design, a costume design, a dictionary of terms from the era, and the redesigned set that you will be making. And we're going to focus on costumes today. And so some of the descriptors that you may have found in the last couple class periods um, for our costuming might be fashion, clothes. We're focusing on, or I'm going to focus on the um, hippie culture, the 1970s. So 1970s would be a word. Disco might be a word that we would be looking for or searching. Hippie would definitely be a word that we might be searching for. But with this precision search, we're going to be using Mass Ultra, which is predominantly periodicals and newspapers and things of that nature, which should fit real well with searching for fashions from the 1970s. So we're going to do an advanced search. And we're going to type in, since we're looking for the 1970s, that's the first term I'm going to type in this first box. It's just 1970s, because that's the time period that we're looking for. So let's type in 1970s and hit our search button and see what comes up. Okay, 8,491 results. Who would like to volunteer to go through all of these results? Yeah, me either. So let's take a look at what we have here. Last call for Jerry Brown, politics and government. Not really what we want our focus to be. New tests can spot mild head trauma. That's wonderful, but that has really very little to do with fashion. So we need to probably look a little bit more precisely, hence the precision search, and add another word here from our descriptors that we came up with. So since we're looking at costuming here, let's type in, we need to narrow it down, so let's type in fashion. So we're going to type this in the second box here, and this is called a Boolean search. So we're going to type in fashion here. And what this does is this is going to search for 1970s in the document and also the word fashion, in the document. And so our results now went from over 6,000 down to 156. So let's look and see here. I'm hoping that this is just the most recent because it's not the most relevant, because what we have here is the Washington Redskins players to watch. Well, we typed in 1970s in fashion. What could they possibly think that this has to do with that? So I'm just curious. So let's click on this and see what it says. Why did they think that this would be a good hit for us? Okay, well, let's look at the bold words that come up here, because those are the words that we typed in fashion in 1970s, and see why they thought that this would be a good thing for us. Let's see. Exited the city in typically mixed fashion. That's not the use of the word fashion that we're looking for. We see our 1970s term down here, the quarterback in the late 1970s. So the computer did what we told it to. It searched 1970s and it searched fashions, but this is not what we're looking for at all. So we need to refocus a little bit. This isn't specific enough. So let's do what is called nesting. Let's take fashion off of this line and let's put it up here with 1970s and see if that makes a difference in what comes up for our search. So we had 111. Now we're down to 10 with our nesting. 1970s fashion came up with 10 results. Let's look at these. Diane Keaton, Classic Cool, Donnie Marie, they were popular in the 1970s. Tommy Hilfiger, Spirit of 76. This is Fashion and Motion Pictures in the 1970s. So these are some that might work, and 10 is a very doable number as far as looking through each of these documents. So that's a possibility. Um, but it might be just a little bit too restricted. So let's do something a little bit different here. Let's put a little asterisk on the end of fashion here. And what this is called, truncation. And this gives multiple endings. So in other words, fashion, instead of just looking for fashion, it might now be looking for fashions, fashionable, um, things that have fashion as a root word, and which really there aren't that many. So let's see what this does to our results. 10 results, oh, 10 results. So really it did nothing for our results. So I don't think that might work on some of the other searches, precision searches that you'll be doing, or search techniques, but in this case it didn't give us anything different. So let's see what happens if we just try to search for 1970s as a phrase. These words are together. You can either put quotes around it or you can put parentheses around it. Let's put quotes around it and see what it does for our results. Okay, it took our 10 down to 8. Well, again, we still have the same top 2 hits. Actually, the top 8 hits are the same. So it took 2 off there. And again, 10 wasn't that many to have to look through. 8, I'm not sure that putting it in quotes helped us at all. So that just restricted it even more. So our results, which were rather narrow in the first place, became more restricted. And I don't think we want that. So let's take the quotes out of there. What I would like to try next, though, is a proximity search. Now, this means that right now it's looking for 1970s and fashion, those 2 words together. Well, we don't necessarily need them to be together in order to do this search. And actually, this might be limiting to us too much. So let's type in here N standing for near, the number 5 standing for 5 words. So now, by putting that N5 in there, we were searching for 1970s, that phrase or that date, and the word fashion within 5 words of each other. And let's see if that opens things up for us a little bit more, because 8 results really, there might be other better things out there. Okay, 35 results. That's very doable. And any one of us here could go through these probably in no time at all. And that helped things a lot, helped open things up, but yet we're still relevant with 1970s and fashions, and we're not going to run into any Washington Redskins in here probably. Let's see what we've got in here. MTV and the disco heat, so there's that word disco. Yves Saint Laurent, a designer from the 1970s. Supermodels, interviews, and so on. Totally Gaga, this probably relates to Lady Gaga and some of the things, bizarre things that she wears. Everything old is new again. What decade am I? All of these things, sleek and chic. Power of racism, I'm not sure about, but it would be worth looking into here. So we have 35 things that would be totally very easy to look through, and probably a great many of them might be relevant. Some other things that you could do in your precision search, things to keep in mind would be capitalization. Is what we're typing in here case sensitive? With what we're typing in here, 1970s and fashion, probably not case sensitive, so we're not going to worry about checking that out. But you might want to, depending on what your precision search is about, take that in consideration. Limiters, with only 35 results, I don't know that we want to limit it any further, but we could go down here and select maybe things that are just full text articles. So let's update that. We had 35 results, now we have 21, so there it's going to give us maybe not reviews of books, but these are just going to be articles that you see all of the text for. So that might be worth doing. Takes you from 35 down to 21 results. Another thing that you could do as far as content mining, down here further, you could search just periodicals, just newspapers, just biographies. You could refine it further by just the subject area or just a certain publication. But again, when we only have 21 results or 35 results to look through, I don't think we need to limit it any further. We could also limit by publication date. All the publications are 1996 that we're looking for. We can't apparently look for anything earlier than that, so I'm not sure that we want to limit ourselves by publication date, but you certainly could try that. But in this case, we're not going to, because 21 is a very manageable amount of results, so this is what we're going to go through. Now, as you're doing your precision search, a good thing to do is to jot your information down, because some of the terms that you come across in these articles you might be able to use in the other areas of your research that you're doing. I was searching for costuming here in particular, but other things that you're going to need to be looking for would be like set design, scripts, like what terms, what words were used in the 1970s, and you might find clues to those things within these articles that we found here. So it's good to be taking notes, highlighting things.